get pumped. All right, let's go.
3.
You need a hat for every season.
I do. I should have one. I'm telling you.
Hello and welcome to WTF, where we help you transform food in your kitchen. I'm Janie.
And I'm Roman.
And on this channel, we talk about unique ingredients, techniques, and show you new recipes for your kitchen. And this week, we are doing one of our recipe reviews. And we are reviewing Marie Claire France's zucchini terrine recipe. I'm going to have Cole bring up, using TV magic or YouTube magic,
yes,
whatever,
YouTube magic,
to bring up a picture of what this terrine looks like on the Marie Claire France's website. And the reason why we wanted to do this recipe is because actually a customer wrote in and said, hey, I saw this great recipe for a zucchini terrine. It's basically a zucchini terrine that is made with agar. And I have your agar, and I tried the recipe exactly, and it doesn't work. And I was like, show me this recipe. And I looked at it, and I was like, I think my first thought was just like, no freaking way. No freaking way this recipe actually works. But the only way to know for sure is to have Roman test it here in the test kitchen.
Exactly.
So today Roman's gonna walk through all the different steps that is included in this recipe and show you how this would come together. And we're gonna take a look at the very end as to whether this terrine comes together or not. Now first, we're gonna bring back this picture again of what this terrine should look like, and you can kind of follow along as we walk through these steps.
All right.
All right, Roman, what are the steps to assembling this zucchini terrine?
Okay, so the first thing you have to do is you have to slice your zucchini really thin. That's the first thing. Second thing that we're gonna do is that we're gonna cook our zucchinis in this pan, just a good sear on both sides, and then we're gonna set it all in this mold with an agar solution.
Okay, let's do it. Sounds
so
simple.
Let's
Sounds
do it.
very straightforward.
All right, first let's turn this on, and we're gonna get it to a medium-high heat. I have a little bit of olive oil in the pan, and we're just gonna go ahead and lay these thin zucchini strips in here, and we'll cook them for about 1 minute on each side.
So one of the things I'm noticing, obviously, a terrine is many layers of zucchini. We're not gonna fry like all of them on screen.
Of course
So
not.
Roman did pre-fry a couple. And the first thing that I'm noticing as you're doing this is, in the picture, that zucchini is like perfectly clear, perfectly smooth. And what you have here is kind of like what you expect from vegetables that are being fried. They're a little brown.
Pick up some
wrinkly.
color.
So first red flag right there is what's happening there.
And I even went light on the cooking too. I could have cooked them a little bit more, but I did notice that the picture was it looked uncooked. It just didn't look like it was cooked at all. But trying to get this as close as possible to the recipe. All right, so lay these down.
All right, what's next?
All right, so next we make the solution. So over here we have some agar and some warm water. This was another big red flag in this recipe because it said add warm water to your agar and mix it. Which, I mean, right away I was like, that's not how it works. You don't just add warm water to agar and then just whisk it or mix it, whatever.
Yeah.
Usually it takes a pretty nice high shear to get that agar into whatever liquid you're gonna use.
And boiling at 5 minutes at 212 degrees. It's one of the, a lot of times agar is very commonly used in place of gelatin in a lot of plant-based recipes. And one of the frustrations that people have when they try to adapt is the fact that agar requires a lot more to hydrate and a lot of this boil compared to gelatin, which does melt at a lower temperature. So when they're like, let's go for it, before I freak out, let's go for it and just see what happens. Okay.
So again, they don't tell you how much, so it's up to me to guess how much water I'm gonna put in this agar also, which is another huge red flag. So I'm gonna slowly add some of this water and whisk it.
So this reminds me of when we do a meat glue slurry, right? Because this is exactly how we do the meat glue slurry, where it's a little bit more laissez-faire about the measurements. Okay.
So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking I'm gonna brush this. So this looks good to me. I don't want it to be too watery because I don't want the solution to fall underneath the zucchini. I kind of want it to sit on it, to stick to it, because that'll help adhere. So I'm just guessing here. The recipe tells you nothing. But so this is my little warm water. And what do you think?
I can still see the agar granules in there.
Yeah, I think if I add too much water, it'll dilute it, and it won't stick. So there's a I'm trying to do my own thinking in this because this recipe doesn't really tell you anything. It just,
All right.
So next thing the recipe tells you to do is to lay out your warm zucchini on the bottom of the mold.
Okay.
And then with a brush, we're gonna brush some of this agar solution onto the zucchini. Mm-hmm. And then we're gonna add another layer.
Okay, so
and we're just going to keep doing this over and over again until we fill up the terrine.
All right, so this is very, very similar. If you just watched our recent episode about we made the octopus tempura, this looks very similar to that in a lot of different ways. My concern before we even unveil the finished terrine is the fact that agar is not glue. It doesn't fundamentally bond together vegetables. Vegetables don't have the protein, and even if they did, agar does not have the properties to bond them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So agar, it forms a gel, a water-based gel. So the most that it can do is form a thin layer of gel in between your zucchini slices.
Correct.
So we're gonna see.
If you heat it up, also.
Yes.
And this recipe
no
doesn't
baking.
call.
Okay.
This recipe does not call for that. So after we layer this up, we get to the top. We're just gonna put another form on top and a little bit of weight, and we're gonna put it in the fridge overnight, and then we'll see what happens, I guess.
Well, we'll be right back to see what happens. All right, we're back. We have our finished terrine that we're just about to unmold, and we will taste test it. But before we do that, I want to talk about this week's ingredient highlight, which is going to be our very own super agar. Now, please don't let this episode inform your opinion of what agar can do, because agar is actually a wonderful plant-based gelling agent. It can be used in so many ways. Fluid gels. It can be used in agar clarification. It can be used to gel a lot of different things. It forms this kind of like really firm, brittle gel. And I really love our super agar because it's stronger than most of the agars on the market. And if you're like, what does that mean? We're going to put a link in the description below in an episode that's all about agar, where we not only talk about how agar works properly, but then also compare all the different types of agar that are on the market to kind of show you how, they're not all the same, what makes them different, and what to look for in order to purchase a high quality agar. So check that out, links in the description below. All right, moment of truth. I'm scared.
I am scared
Roman.
too. I am 100% scared.
Oh my God.
But all right.
Okay, let's do it.
So, okay, I'm just gonna give it a little help here.
Okay.
All right, let's see. All right.
Okay. It looks interesting.
Yep. Okay, so
it's not falling apart yet.
It's not falling apart yet,
great.
but you can see. I mean, if you can see here, it's not really.
Yeah, it's not really stuck together.
It's not really stuck together at all.
Is it just the compression that's holding them together?
That's what's holding it together. I mean, there's a weight on top of it, so over 24 hours, it is going to compress itself, but this is definitely not holding itself together.
All right,
but
here we go.
let's cut into it though.
Cut us some
and
pieces.
Let's see what we got here.
Cut me just like a tiny, tiny piece.
Okay. I mean, there's a big difference between this and the picture that's in the recipe. It looks nothing like that, but let's see what we got here. So we'll cut. I'll cut you a really. It's not staying together at all.
Yep. So kind of the promise of the recipe is that you're gonna get this piece that's really gonna hold together, and I think we're not seeing that. All right.
All right, moment of truth.
Let's go. Oh.
Okay, that's gross.
Oh my God, so gross. I can taste all the agar.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. It's like they're little.
I don't think I can swallow that. I don't think I can swallow that. I can't.
I already swallowed mine.
Did you? I can't do it.
It's like.
Oh my God.
It's like these crumbly little bits of agar in between the zucchini. The zucchini itself is fine.
This is terrible.
Oh no, now it's stuck in my throat.
Okay, so none of the agar is hydrated.
Yeah.
So what you're getting is zucchini with unhydrated agar solution in between it. It is, in one word, disgusting. It does not taste good.
Oh my God.
It doesn't work. It doesn't hold itself together. I mean, this recipe is It's actually a complete joke, to be honest with you. Like this
Yeah.
is.
So I don't
Look at
know
that.
who wrote this recipe,
Oh,
but
that was
it
gross.
feels to me like AI wrote it, right? AI
Yeah.
kind of took a bunch of recipes, was like, hey, give me a recipe for zucchini terrine with an agar, made with agar. And they're like, here you go. And someone was like, oh, this picture looks great. Let's publish this.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it feels like.
Oh.
And, you know, as AI is doing more of the writing on the internet, I think it does take a little bit of discernment to start like understanding how ingredients work before you just
Right.
attempt anything on the internet. Oh my god, this is so weird.
It's so disgusting.
All right. Well, we're definitely not finishing this. I'm gonna have a
No.
little bit more of my coffee to wipe this down. But if there's any recipe that you've seen on the internet or anywhere
Oh.
you're like, you want us to try that recipe, we will try the recipe. Leave it in
Yes.
the links, leave it in the comments, in the whatever below in the video. And until next week, from here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen, I'm Janie,
And I'm Roman.
and we transform
Food.